Welcome. Today's podcast is about the mode of production by Karl Marx, and mode of production is a direct topic for the UPSC optional subject. So, what is mode of production? So, mode of production is a concept which is given by Karl Marx, and it is central to the Marxist theory. So, this term, mode of production, when you dissect this term, the mode of production of what? Production of goods and these days it's services also. So in production of these things, who are participate, who will participate means of the factors of production. When production will comes, it involves means of production. Means how we are producing things. Suppose you are producing a laptop. So who are involved in this production of laptop? That is, land is required for a particular production factory, labor is required, the engineers are required, the technology is required, and also in while product while doing the production process, many people are involved in that, and and those people, the managers, the technicians, uh, the, the company CEOs, all these people are in a particular social relationship. So that is called as relations of production. So factors of production plus production relations, these two comprises the economic base. So economic base acts as a core foundation for a society, because every when you take example of every country, the economy determines their lifestyle. Suppose in US the economy is so good, so that their lifestyle, uh, and lifestyle, those things, it influences a lot according to Karl Marx also. And they used this concept to analyze the historical and economic developments uh, over a period of time. So one famous quotation of the Karl Marx is, "In order to think, man must eat, and in order to eat, man must produce." So the production is the basis for the survival of a man. And he also says that history is the creation, satisfaction, recreation of never-ending human needs. What are the human needs? Human needs are food, clothing, shelter. And once these needs are satisfied, new sets of needs will emerge. Okay, so in that way the production process, the style of production changes, the mode of production changes. So in this perspective, Karl Marx have given six types of modes of production, in which four are already done and two are about to come according to his perception. So now we'll see what are those things, and also we'll uh, will be analyzing entire thing as a summary. So firstly, primitive society existed. In that primitive society, so primitive society is, you can think like people living in the forest, a group of tribes living in the forest, and it's many years ago, before the arrival of kings or those times. So that time there is no class, because there is no distribution of private property, and it is all structured around kinship, and no division of labor, because that time they only wanted to make food, and women used to collect this grains and seeds from the forest, and men used to hunt. Men together used to hunt. So the duty of that men is just to hunt and give it, bring it back to community, so that community will engage and eat it, have it, and they, in that way, they have proceeded their life. So, and they have all worked for the common good. That is primitive uh, society. Next, in the second phase comes the ancient mode of production. That is, now the kings have arrived. So the private property have become, and the concept it started to develop. So that is second point regarding the modes of production. Next, they turn to a feudal mode of production. uh, Feudal mode of production, we have seen the feudal society in the dark ages of European society in the 14th century, 12th century, like that. And the feudal lords, and for them to serve, there are serfs also. And it led to the exploitation of peasant class, because all the lands and all are been in the hands of the kings, feudal lords. And it led to the changing technology eventually, and that led to the capitalistic mode of production. Uh, be- and in capitalistic mode of production, there is a private ownership, and Karl Marx says that owner only takes most of the money, most of the profits, and wages are just enough just to survive. And now we are currently in the capitalistic mode of production. So next mode of production according to Karl Marx is socialism. So it is a transitory mode, that means in which proletariat will topple bourgeois in a revolution and will control factors of production. So bourgeois are the persons like Ambani, and proletariat are the people who working in the factories of Ambani. So he, according to Karl Marx, he says that one day the proletariat will override bourgeois in a revolution and will control the factors of production. And he also termed it as a dictatorship of proletariat, and workers control the forces of production. And next stage is advanced communism. So in advanced communism, uh, it is owned by the it is communally owned by workers to renounce their rule, and everybody carry their own creative pursuits, and there will be no class in society. And according to Marx, it's a last mode of production, and it is not yet realized yet. So there is other mode of production also, Asiatic mode of production. And in Asiatic mode of production, ownership of land is communal, and it is classless to class societies. So those things are there. And next, so there are two things: the forces of production and production relations. So in forces of production, there will be man relations, symmetrical and egalitarian. And with the factors of production, they will exploit the nature for the fulfilling needs of the man, and should be compatible and commensable with forces of production, so as to ensure that uh, and what is the thing in this, because this global warming, these things are occurring because the way the man is utilizing the nature, using the nature, is not compatible. And it should be compatible with forces of production, so as to ensure that most effective and efficient use of deployment. And uh, and these forces of production become superior, efficient with passage of time and evolution of history. How, for example, in agriculture practices, previously in ancient mode they used to do sticks to for seedling. Again, after iron age, they have used these iron ploughs. After a few, nowadays they are using tractors. Now the tractors without drivers or automated machines are being used in agriculture practices. So in this way, the forces of production will become superior, and it is to satisfy ever increasing exponential needs of man. For example, uh, in the last 100 years ago, there is no electricity, there is no machines, there is no electric gadgets and all. Now because of the life changes of man, because of the needs of man, these things are evolving. Nowadays even a beggar on the street have a mobile phone. So uh, so man's needs are increasing, and in the same way, forces of production also increases. So there comes at a particular time in mode of production, Karl Marx says that production relations will not be compatible once factors of production is high. So for example, nowadays it's automation, these things are there, people are losing jobs. Why? Because production relations will not be compatible. The things which are now doing by the employees, the AI can do, the artificial intelligence can do, and here the employer will do dominate. uh, and also these production relations will become archaic and outdated. Before that, if production relations are there, if you are in a particular company, you know your office members, you know your colleagues, but nowadays it's not like that. So they restrict efficient deployment of forces of production. And also when you think of social changes, between newly developed factors of production existed. So uh, there is in primitive mode of communism, Stone Age. Now we have discussed a primitive, ancient, feudal, capitalistic, socialistic, and communistic mode of production. Now I will also see about the in primitive communism. What are the things there? Very detailedly, we'll look on each thing. In primitive mode of production, there is a tribal society, there is egalitarian and classless, and those resources are accessible to all the members. There is no private property, and it's not controlled by few hands, and everyone shows some relationship. And the technology, whatever they have, is very simple, and primitive tools were used like stone tools. In ancient history, we have read about the axe, stone sickle, those things. And the labor, they are existing not for the production in the market, they are working for themselves, for their survival, that is there. And when you take factors of production, it's primitive, inferior, simple, subsistence, these things are there. In factors of production, there are no surplus of goods, and no appreciation or exploitation, and no private property. So these things are lead to levels of materialism is low that time, because that time agriculture, they used to hunt for that day only, they used to do things for that day only. There is no surplus goods to sell or buy, and there is no concept of selling, buying also, even exchanging is not there. because whatever they are bringing as a community, they are consuming it as a community, and there is no space for exploitation also. That is all about primitive communism. And also when you take division of labor in the primitive communism, men used to do hunting and killing, those things, and women used to do domestic chores, like nurturing, uh, taking care of young ones, gathering and fetching water, fuel, fruits, and making cloths of animal skin. And division of labor is very simple: men used to do this, women used to do this, that's it. And the background of this, how the division happens, is according to Angels, in his book The Origin of Family, Private Property and State. He states that uh, primitively, uh, primitively it's harder, and the female used to have multiple sexual partners, and because of that, children children belonging to particular tribe, they are collectively nurtured, and it is the children belong to that community, it's reared by all, like animals. For example, a group of elephants are there, because all, I mean, elephant is different, like in personal relations are there, but although all children are reared by all the people. For example, when you take kibbutz system in Israel, kibbutz, Kibbutz, and for this, uh, that time there is no concept of family marriage, and according to Durkheim, I shapes the U concept, and how the being will determine the consciousness. And so by this, superstructure have evolved the private property, and male wanna control female sexuality. So in that way patriarchy existed, so polygamy, monogamy, the existence of private property, accumulation of private property. So it is to just ensure the paternity of offspring. So in that way it have come all the patriarchal system, and it is according to the Angels, the origin of family, private property and state. And consciousness, being determines the consciousness, and the consciousness, if it is a similar consciousness among the people, then it is called as collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness will be of similar lifestyle, and similar world view will be there, and that will lead to the mechanical solidarity. And we'll learn what is mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity in our latter discussions. So in capitalistic mode of production, how will be the things? So what are the, so now we look on the modes of production in capitalism. So basically, capital, when you take the capitalism mode of production, so there is a class. In that class, there are two things. One is factors of production and production relations. So production relations will put certain individuals in group to that particular employer, and some relations in factors of production. All owners are capitalists, so there are labor who belong to capital feudalistic things, uh, and this production relations are hierarchical in nature. So, and according to Karl Marx, it's a relationship between oppressor and oppressor and oppressed, haves and have-nots. And as we know, that factors of production is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. That is there. And the second thing is the quality. I mean, the feature of a capitalistic mode of production is it is nature of exploitation, according to Marx. It is all about the theory of surplus value. The man who is owner, he always thinks of profit, and whatever profit comes, he don't give to the labor. That is there. And the third thing is a capitalistic mode of exchange will be there. Capitalistic mode of exchange means uh, you'll be exchanging between money to money, and capital, money, capital. So these two things we'll discuss. So that is there. And it also promotes the reserve army of labor. Capitalism is there, you are doing production, so there is always a reserved army of the people who want to work. And the ideology comes from the capitalism, that is profit making, private ownership and profit making. And the next things are the nature of exploitation and the theory of surplus value. So how the nature of according to Karl Marx, so the exploitation will be, there will be technical, economical and objective. So it is only the labor which can produce wealth. Lower power makes production possible, he says, and whatever the surplus is come, it is a value created by the worker over and above his wages. So he says that. And labor, suppose he is working for 5 hours and the producing value is of 10 hours, and the value in market is it's about GDP, and the wages is he is working for himself, and they are well below the wealth that they are producing. So that is there. And the capitalistic place much less, and keep rest with themselves. uh, that is there. Next, long working hours will be there, and the people will be in the slums with the diseases and lack of sanitation facilities. So we have seen in during World Wars also people have faced the health crisis in the factory areas of Germany and European countries. So, and these longing hours, poor and dangerous conditions, it will lead to the revolutions and the trade union movements, and the reforms will come. Reforms is a reduction of work exploitation against workers, expansion of wages, improvement in living standards. Those things will take place. And next, so the factors of production will become more superior. I mean, technological expansion will happen, and exports of production, economy expansion of wages, all these things happen. But the rate of exploitation increasing as more share of wealth is generated by labor. So previously they used to work 7 8 hours. Now they are working 12 13 hours. Money they are getting 2 lakhs 3 lakhs. But suppose if a software engineer is doing a project and it is worth rupees of many, I mean lakhs, but he is offered by the company only 2 3 lakhs. If the project is of 20 30 lakhs, the employee who is working, he will be getting only 2 3 lakhs. So he said, but Karl Marx saying rate of exploitation increasing as more share of wealth generated by labor, that is there. And the capitalism, uh, and in this capitalistic things, a capitalist is as much as afraid of another capitalist, so there will be always competition. And since only labor can accumulate wealth, and as surplus increasing, exploitation will also increasing. And the bourgeois and capitalists are like vampire who are alive. They are sucking the blood of the labor. It's by Karl Marx said this thing. And the surplus will become profit, and the profit they will reinvest in. And that uh, the principle will follow a general law of capital accumulation. More factories, more are the factories, more will be the machines, more will be the expand of production, and wealth will also increase. So again, technical investments happens, and technical investments also increases the competition. uh, for example, this we should not write in exam, but although there is a Nokia company and there are other electronic companies for phone manufacturing, and Nokia that time it's committed to producing the old keypad phone. It didn't update it to smartphone, and now the Samsung and other companies, they have updated for the this thing. So in a competition to stay in the capitalistic society, one have to update technologically, one have to update. So that is also there. Next we'll come to the other feature of capitalism, that is mode of exchange. So there are basically two types of mode of exchange. One is uh, money to money, that is a capitalistic mode of exchange. So you will give money for taking money. And there is other mode, that is commodity money commodity. For example, you want fish. So suppose you are a fisherman, you will sell your fish for money, and that money you will buy for other things. So you will sell a commodity through the money process. You want other. For example, you are selling a fish or a mango for money, and whatever the money you are getting, you are giving to other person, and you want bread. That is commodity money commodity, and it is non-capitalistic mode of exchange. So commodity transferred into money, which is further transferred back into different communities. But there is other mode of exchange, that is MCM, money commodity money. So you will invest something, money, uh, to produce a commodity, and you will sell that commodity in order to get money. So this capitalistic mode of production or the capitalistic mode of exchange, all is of MCM. You will invest money, uh, you will make a commodity, and you will sell that commodity, and you will earn money. Okay. So here we move from money to money via the commodity. And next thing is, and more money, and this cycle will never end. It is of more money, more money, more money. I mean, the rich person will always wanted to accumulate more capital. And the aim is boundless enrichment. So if the person is very rich in India, he want to become the world's richest man. And if he already have become a world's richest man, he want to maintain that. He want to, maybe he will involve, I mean, he will expand his powers. Next thing is the nature of exploitation in capitalism, and is qualitatively different from others mode of production, ancient mode of production, because whatever the exploitation that is taken place, that is going on in capitalism, nobody can see. It is invisible and it is subtle and it is hidden. And uh, and it is a hidden ideology. Exploitation is that, because you feel whenever you are doing a job, you feel like you're independent, you are doing things well, those things are there. But you have agreed and you have done an agreement with the company that I will be binding with these rules. You have to work hard, in order to survive in the company. So those things are there. And whatever these achievements are there, they are accomplished and perpetuated by objective, impersonal and systematic and formal economic system. Okay. And there is also the wrong conception of freedom, and the workers are portrayed as free laborers who are engaging into free contracts and also with fair capitalists in promotion of exchange. So this is another reality. And capitalism creates a reserve army of labor, of unemployed, underemployed, everyone they will create. And if the workers does not want to do the job also, the wages which capitalists offer, somebody else will do. If you're not doing a software job, somebody else will grab that opportunity to do, because people are in the crisis because of because of hunger and starvation in the last 200-300 years ago, and now it is because of the crisis of money. And if you want a good life, you need money. And because of money, you have to work hard, because the options that we see is very less. So that is there. Next one is, in this there is an important concept called commodity fetishism. So uh, there are certain things, objects, goods which are commodities, and when these are reserved or meant to sold in market, there will be some exchange values, numerical values if there. And suppose one pair shoes is equal to 20 bread money, so those exchange values is there. So my pen costs 10 rupees. For buying a phone, I need some 1000 pens. Okay, so I need 10,000 rupees. Like that, there are exchange values for everything, and for everything there is a utility value, the use value. And these things are used to satisfy various needs. For example, I'm using mobile phone for communication purposes, and also for studies, for other things. And it is used for self gratification, and it creates a social relationship with others. And suppose there is an example of bread. What is its utility? Its utility is to satisfy one's hunger. Shoes are there. Shoes can't satisfy your hunger. And these utility values are qualitative in nature, and it is uncomparable. And the shoes can't satisfy your hunger. There are different uses for different objects. And how is this value of commodity is determined? So one theory is called as labor theory of value, and it's discarded because it depended on demand and supply. So there are some economists like Ricardo, Karl Marx. So they have said that commodity has certain value because it is socially necessary. Labor time put in production of commodities will determine exchange value. So how much labor you have put in the production of something, it determines that value. Suppose the laptop is there. Laptop cost is about 3 lakhs, 2 lakhs, 1 lakh. So the different price ranges are there, because to produce that there is a different amount of time that have spent by the researchers on that. The company have expended different quantities of money on that. So as time increases, value also it increases. And in this perspective, the commodity fetishism is there. So what is commodity fetishism? So it is derived from a religious belief system which is held by people that inanimate objects possess supernatural powers and mysterious qualities, and worship control over man's action and belief. As we have seen some totems, stone, wood, how they are, it symbolizes whatever the object we are using, commodity, it will symbolize the status. For example, you are using an iPhone. So iPhone is just a phone, but you're like looking as it as a supernatural. Only rich people will possess. Only people who have money, prestige, status will possess. In that way, this commodity fetishism is happening because this is a creation of man. And for example, different branding, Nike shirt is there, and other Buffalo jeans are there. Some different companies are there. And what the branding is about commodity fetishism, that product doesn't have that much value, but because of branding and other things, they will create so valuable, so supernatural. So that is called as commodity fetishism. So Marx operates in this perspective because fetishism is a religious belief system where objects possess supernatural power. Karl Marx derived this particular term from the religious connotation, and he have used this uh, to give an explanation for the commodities which we feel like it have mystical powers in that way. Okay. And commodity fetishism, so it is man and commodities are there. So in this way man is alienated from the product because it creates separate realm, and it creates an illusion of ideology which distorts reality, and also it have some intrinsic value, character will be there. So, and the commodities, these all commodities are creation of product. Okay. So that is there. So this is all about commodity fetishism. uh, and whenever production happens, distribution happens, and because of distribution, consumption is also happen. And in this way there will be social relationship between the men. For example, I'm producing biscuits, I will sell to the nearest seller. He will give it to the transport department, and the driver will drive that particular he will transport the goods. His family will depend on the driver, and that driver he will give to the other shop, and other distributor will send it to the children. So all this is creating a supply chain management system. So this creates the social relationships between men, and it is replaced by relation by things, that is commodities. So the linkages between these two things are hidden. All we see is market. And also whenever for example, if you see BD industry, though it is very bad, many people are dependent on it, and shop, it goes to transport, then it goes to production. In the production process, the child labor is there, the wages are there, although they are poor and danger, bonded labor will be there. And it will go to tribals, contractors, and also some amount of money go to Naxalites also for left-wing ideology propagation. So this entire chain will form. So in sociological perspective, whenever we see the things, if suppose the tea chai is there, if a man is drinking tea, it is not only an act, it's a social act, because he is helping in increasing of the GDP of the country. He is helping many lives. And also when he was discussing, when he is on chai pe charcha, then he is obviously on thinking more, and, and that is there. So what Karl Marx says that physical, psychological hardships, longing hours, dangerous hours are there. And it is commodities and material possess determines character, self, personality, and stuff of man. So those statements have been given by Marx, and all possessions determine the character of man. So there are different advertisements which do the commodity fetishism. So that concept is there. Next, in the next podcast, we'll learn about the ideology and false consciousness. Then we'll move to the class struggle by Karl Marx. And that's all for this time. Happy learning. Bye.